So hey everyone and welcome back. So today we're going to be looking at the new Nintendo Switch games coming out for this week. Now I'm happy to say that things are coming back to normal on the Nintendo Switch eShop. We're getting a more regular flow of quality games. So today we're going to be looking at 8 great games coming out for this week. And just as we jump in, don't forget that if you are liking the content, to hit that like button. So now our first game for today is going to be the Tale of Bistun that is coming out on January 21st and is going to be selling for $17.99. Now, this is an action-adventure, story-driven game. It looks like it has some potential. I'm not going to say there aren't parts of it that are worrying me that we're going to look at together in the trailer, but I do say that for its under $20 price point, if this game could possibly be delivering a very interesting experience for this week, especially that I'm sort of in the mood for a quick action adventure game right now. So let's take a look at the trailer and we'll get our comments more on the game after that.
As if God himself were holding his breath. But God had forsaken this place, and a demonic creature made it its home.
I like the overall visual design so far.
Revelations ran.
I mean, most of the big components I'm looking for seem to be there. A nice visual design. The combat looks to be flowing pretty good. I think this one really could have some nice potential for this week. Honestly, and there we go. We have a Tale of Bistun coming out, as I said, on January 21st. So when you're watching this video, the game might already be available. And yes, it gave me sort of Diablo vibes too, but it seems to be really more in a story-driven action adventure. So I don't think this is going to be a huge online multiplayer game. I'm not even sure it has any multiplayer at all. But I do think if you're looking to spend less than $20, this one could really have some really nice potential for this week. So Tale of Bistun, obviously, as I always say in all the videos like this, you can always wait for a review or two to get an idea if people are liking the game or not. I would generally recommend it. And you know what? Depending on how things shape up for this week, I might even play it on stream. So that was Tale of Bistun. Now let's take a look at our next game. And our next game, however, definitely is one of my very high potential games for this week. I'm pretty sure it's going to be good based on the quality of the first game in the series, and that is Magnolia Bloom in the Mist, that yes is coming out on January 22nd. Now this game will be selling for $24.99 and it has currently a pre-order discount bringing it down to $22.49. Now if you don't know, this is the follow-up to Ender Lilies, which is a excellent Metroidvania on the Nintendo Switch if you haven't played it yet. It often goes on very deep discounts right now, so jumping into the first one could be an awesome idea. And this is basically the follow-up, which is Ender Magnolia. So let's take a look at the trailer and you'll see why this game generally is very well received. Yeah, I know a lot of people are waiting to hold out for a physical. It is possible that it will be coming. The gameplay also looks more refined in this one. Just by the movement of the characters, when you compare it to the first one, it seems to be more refined. Now, I am worried that this music might get copyrighted. So, by the way, as I always say in these videos, if the music is absent from the trailer, the link to the full trailer will be down below in the description of the video. You can always watch it for yourself. I might have to mute the music after this goes live on YouTube. Honestly, the visuals look stunning. And like I said, it looks like it's bringing all the basic concepts from the first game, but refining them even further. Pretty long trailer, this one, but it's worth it. Great stuff. So there we have it. Ender Magnolia, Bloom in the Mist. Look, if you guys didn't know about the first game, the basic concept is you play sort of like a character. I'll call her a summoner. I know they have a specific name in the game that's not coming to me right now, but you're like a summoner. You collect spirits, and then your attacks are the different spirits that you can use to fight for you. So you basically go through the game collecting different spirits, which is sort of the Metroidvania aspect that allows you to progress through the game. Now, the one thing I will say about the Switch, I am a bit worried about the performance because the game looks so much better, in my opinion, than the first one that I am maybe worried that there could be some performance issues on the Switch. Those will be alleviated. This is, for the moment, the front runner for the stream on Friday. However, I might have time to stream on Thursday as well, which is why, like I said, maybe we'll play something like Tale of Bistun, which is a game that is much less known or much less anticipated. But as you can see, there's going to be a ton of great games for this week. Ender Magnolia should be at the top of the watch list. But very possible that there could be a few worries on the performance side. So Ender Magnolia, Bloom in the Mist, like I said, January 22nd, which is going to be Wednesday, $24.99 regular sales price. Pre-order discount right now, bringing it down to $22.49. Next, we have a game that honestly I missed out, or the original game. I really feel like trying it though, and that is Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles that is coming out on January 23rd. This one will have a sales price of $19.99 with currently a pre-order discount bringing it to $17.99, so a 10% discount. Jedi Power Battles is a port to the Switch of another Star Wars game. It is being done by the same company that brought us all the previous ports. So there is a slight warning here to wait maybe for the performance. Some of their games do come out with performance issues that get generally patched later on. The company's name is Aspire, and basically they generally do a pretty decent job, but there are sometimes patches needed. But let's take a look at the trailer. I missed out on the original game, so this would actually be a first time playing it for me. It does look very interesting. Let's take a look at the trailer. So 13 newly unlocked playable characters. Man, no Jar Jar, please. But I know there's Jar Jar, by the way. He is there. So the gameplay is like a action hack and slash, where you get to play as a bunch of characters from the Star Wars series in a storyline adventure, bringing you through the events of Episode 1. Now, I've got to say, I have a soft spot for the GOAT Jedi, in my opinion, Qui-Gon. He's in the game. Strongly want to play it because of that. You know, and I did see that Jar Jar is a secret unlockable character that they announced later on. So yes, there is. I don't get Mace. Was Mace Windu in Episode 1? I think you see him just when Qui-Gon consults the council, right? So it's pretty funny that he's like a playable character maybe in this one, when theoretically, like I said, you only see him at the council, to my recollection, in Episode 1. Because he only fights in the second in these Episode 2, where like the battle on is it Geonosis? The battle in the pit. But yeah, no, I'm honestly, and for once, Aspire is actually pricing this, I would say, pretty decently. $20 feels okay for this game. Okay. Obviously, I would always like for things to be cheaper, but for once, we're getting one of these Star Wars ports that right away at the beginning has an acceptable price. Because to my recollection, most of the other ones came out at around $30, which just felt too expensive for these games. Color me interested. If the port is well done, this could be a fun time, especially with a friend. There's like co-op in here, and I can see myself blasting my way through Episode 1 with my brother. So I do think this one should definitely be on your radar for this week. Following Jedi Power Battles, we have what I would say is one of the bigger releases for this week. However, I do have a gripe with this game for this week, which we're going to be talking about. And our next game is going to be Guilty Gear Strive, that, yes, is finally making its way to the Nintendo Switch. Now, this is a Nintendo Switch edition, so I don't know exactly how much they will have changed about the game, but this is coming out on January 23rd, and here is my problem with the game. It is going to be sold for $59.99. Yes, it is a full-priced game. And where my problem comes in is that this game came out in 2021 on Steam. Okay, 2021. This is a 4-year-old game, or soon to be 4-year-old game, that we would have to pay full price for. Sort of a little iffy on that point. But let's look at the trailer. It looks nonetheless to be a stellar 2D fighter. The Guilty Gear series has some great mechanics. Sorry about that. I'm hoping that the performance on the Switch is going to be up to snuff, however. So let's take a look at the game and see how it shapes up.
Peggy 12.
I'm going to give this my all. You ready?
Then I don't need to hold back.
So this is the trailer for the Nintendo Switch edition. So hopefully this is actual gameplay graphics and give you an idea of the actual performance. Once again, I'm worried about music here, but we'll see.
At least you're enthusiastic. Give me a moment.
I can believe that these are Switch graphics, however, because at some points they're looking a little muddy if you look at them properly. Okay, so look, I'm going to put it on the table. Guilty Gear is one of the best 2D fighting series out there, especially if you like anime style. Okay, it's right up there. However, it's a very deep fighter. So it does have a complex fighting system when you want to fight at high levels. So do be warned about that before jumping in. Like, make sure either you're going to play casually and you're just like messing around, but if you want to be serious about the game, the fighting system is very deep. Now, what I'm just going to say that worries me about this trailer is we don't see a lot of uninterrupted fighting scenes in-game. We're seeing a lot of cutscenes. We're seeing a lot of optional stuff. And the fighting scenes that we're seeing are only a few selected seconds that are often parts of like pre-rendered animation. Like they were showing a lot of pre-rendered animation special moves, but we're not seeing the second-to-second fighting, which is where I'm worried that this game might have performance issues on the Switch. However, hopefully, if you trust Arc System Works, they generally don't port a game unless it plays well. I'm hoping it does play well, especially since they're asking $60 for this game. Now, that is the big ask here because $60 is expensive for a game that came out 4 to 5 years ago. But if you've been waiting for Guilty Gear Strive, it is probably one of the best Guilty Gears out there. If it plays well, this can definitely be a great pickup. Honestly, I'd be surprised it gets 60 FPS, NDJ. I'd be surprised. I do think it's going to be targeting 30. But look, I know. That's why we need the Nintendo Switch 2 to arrive. Most likely 60 FPS on the Switch 2. But that was Guilty Gear Strive. And you have my opinions on it. Obviously, maybe wait for some gameplay to be out, a review to be out. Check if the game at least runs well on the Switch. Next, we have a Ravenswatch that is also coming out on January 23rd. Now, this one will be selling for $29.99 for its regular edition or $34.99 for a deluxe edition that comes with some skin packs. This game, if you thought that Tale of Bistun looked like a Diablo-like, well, this one is going to look even more like that. It actually seems to be like a sort of under-theme for this week because we have another game sort of in that genre coming up. But Ravenswatch does seem very interesting. It has some very good reviews on Steam. It's already out on Steam apparently, and it has some pretty decent reviews already. So it is looking up for this game. Let's take a look at the trailer and basically see what it has to offer. This one has a bit more of a Souls-like feeling though to the combat. I love this sort of like comic book inspired, slightly almost cel-shaded like graphics. I love this. This is one of my favorite graphical styles on the Switch currently. Yeah, it reminds me of Hades or Curse of the Dead Gods, like very, very similar in graphical style. I would say even almost identical to Curse of the Dead Gods. So there we have a Ravenswatch. Honestly, looks very good to me. Um, Basically, I do think they describe it as a top-down roguelike action game that combines intense real-time combat with deep gameplay and high replay value. So we are looking at roguelike gameplay, which is why, like I said, Hades, Curse of the Dead Gods is popping into my head. Apparently, on top of it, there's supposed to be crossplay, as they say here, which could be very interesting as well. Is crossplay going to be absolutely across Steam, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X, or is it going to be limited to some of the consoles? That I'm not sure. But I definitely think that this one could also have some very high potential for this week. It is, however, a little bit more on the higher end of the spectrum at $30. But like I said, the graphical style looks absolutely beautiful. Okay, next is a game. It's maybe one of my longer shots for this week. And this game is also coming out on January 23rd. It is called Dance of Cards. This one is going to be selling for $9.99. And I've got to tell you, ever since ever since whatchamacallit, the card game almost won, pretty much won Game of the Year for indie games. Balatro, my God, had a little blank there. Card games or games that have card mechanics have really risen on my watch list because that game surprised me a ton. And this is basically a mix of a card game and sort of like almost a JRPG. So I'm very, very interested in possibly trying out this game. It could have a ton of potential. On top of it, it is only $9.99. So if I had to take a long shot for this week, this would most likely be the game I would take a long shot on. Let's take a look at the trailer and you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. Yeah, this one though more mixes in like storyline, almost like a JRPG, and then basically like the interaction sections are like poker games. No, it's no Gwent, but I do think, like I said, this could have some ton of potential. And for a $10 game, this might just surprise a lot of people out there. And card games, like I said, right now, automatically higher up than usual. So my long shot for this week is going to be a Dance of Cards. Guys, once again, maybe wait for a review, but I have a feeling for this one that it might be something special. Pineapple Works also put out a few other games. I have a blank right now which ones, but they generally have some decent offerings. Okay, now we aren't done with January 23rd yet, because another one of, I would say, a game that I'm very excited to try will be Symphonia. That is also coming out on January 23rd, and this one will have a sales price of $19.99. Now, this one gives me very much feelings of Bow Path of the Teal Lotus, however, with a very music-based gameplay. So basically, let's take a look at the trailer. It'll give you a much better idea of what I'm talking about. Then we can discuss it further. Yes. Now, it's unclear whether it's going to be a Metroidvania or just a straightforward action 2D platformer, but one way or the other, I think it can deliver something great. Like it obviously gives you right away like Hollow Knight, but I would say Path of the Teal Lotus, because from the gameplay that you can see here, it seems to be much more platforming based than necessarily combat based. Which reminds me, like I said, Path of the Teal Lotus, because most of the difficulty in that game came from the platforming, not the combat. Yeah, I would almost say Cuphead meets Hollow Knight. Like, there's a way to the movements and the animations that reminds me of Hollow Knight, but the colorfulness of the environments and the sort of whimsical art style does remind me a bit of Cuphead. But this one, I definitely think could have potential. Now, it was delayed because it was originally set for December 5th, was then delayed to January 23rd. So hopefully it won't get a last minute delay and it will be coming out this week, but also in good shape. But if you're looking for I feel this is going to be a challenging game, okay? They don't say it officially, but I feel like this is going to have a serious challenge level. If you're looking for a challenging 2D platformer, whether it be combat-based or platforming-based, I think this one could definitely be a target for this week. Great game. Symphonia looks like it has a ton of potential. Okay, next we have our final game for January 23rd. We do have one game after this, however, and it is another long shot. Now, this game, I would say, be warned. Okay, be careful. Be careful. Be like not warned, but be careful. Achilles Legends Untold. We have another isometric viewpoint action adventure game. Seems to have some slight Souls-like influences to it. However, I've seen reviews on other consoles and they've been mid-tier, around a 7. However, it still looks like something that could be interesting. This game is going to be releasing, as I said, on January 23rd, selling for $24.99. So for a game that's been receiving 7s, it's a little bit on the high scale. However, let's take a look at the trailer. I did nonetheless find the gameplay to look appealing, so let's take a look together.
In a world consumed by chaos and bloodshed, true heroes emerge. Forged through blood, sweat, and sacrifice. Molded from skilled warriors into an unstoppable force. Meet the hero who defied the gods and rewrote history. Unleashing his wrath upon those who dared oppose him. The hero whose legend has transcended his era. Discover the untold story of the greatest warrior of all. The time has come to tell the tale of Achilles.
So there we have Achilles Legends Untold. I'm getting old school God of War vibes from it. Like it seems to be targeting that kind of style. Like when I'm talking old school God of War, it's like God of War 1 through 3. Okay. I'm getting those kind of vibes, but at the same time, I am a little bit worried because some of the animations, once again, the combat scenes, they showed a lot of cutscenes, but very little uninterrupted combat. That always makes me nervous in trailers, and that's something as a developer, like if you're making a trailer for a game, showing uninterrupted gameplay sort of shows that you have confidence that your game will speak for itself. I do recommend looking, like, at least giving like 10 to 15 sections, 10 to 15 second sections of gameplay, so that as a reviewer, okay, this game seems to be running properly for a full sort of visual combat section. Giving like 2 seconds cutting away to a cutscene to something else, little iffy. It catches the eye, but it doesn't convince that you're confident that the gameplay of your game will speak for itself. That is what's worrying me a little bit here. The combat at moments looked stiff as well. But I do think that possibly this game could come out and be something interesting. I do think, however, for this one, I would wait for a sale. Okay, $24.99 does feel a little bit on the high end, especially like I said that the game's been receiving 7 on other platforms. But overall, still one I wanted to bring a little of attention to, even if it is have to as a warning to be maybe careful about it. Now, our last game for today is going to be Vermitron. That is releasing on January 24th. It is a budget release, selling for only $7.99. But it is a interesting take on an arcade tower defense game, I would call it, or base defense game. I find the visual style interesting. The gameplay looks fun. $7.99 is not a big stretch. This is another long shot for this week, but I have a pretty decent record. When I say it's a long shot, a lot of them turn out to be pretty decent. So let's take a look. So you basically have to protect your flower, set up a base, and set up traps throughout your base. And then bugs are going to try to attack your flower, and you have to basically sort of in real time do what you can to keep your base up and to keep the bugs from eating your flower. Like I said, it's an old school arcade visual style. You have to go water your flower. So there we have Vermitron. Now, as I said, visually, it might not be the most captivating game, but on top of it, who can resist this beautiful digital cat? Come on. His best friend is his kitty cat. You guys love Topaz, you gotta love Vermitron. No, I'm joking. But look, I haven't played the game yet. I'm not sure. But I do think at $7.99, once again, if you're looking for a long shot for this week, that could maybe turn out into a little hidden gem. This could be maybe one of those games. But look, we have some great games coming for the Nintendo Switch. It's nice to see things kicking back up on the eShop. If you think I missed out on any games, as in every one of these videos, let me know down below so that I can maybe include it in an update next week. At the same time, if there's any games that are interesting on the list, let me know in those comments down below as well. And as usual, I hope I'll see all of you in my next video.